This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only, and it is not meant for substitution or replacement of professional medical or health advice. This podcast may contain explicit language, taboo topic, controversial ideas, and triggering points of view. So we invite you to respect what is being shared, even if you don't agree. If you resonate with anything that's being shared in today's show, please feel free to apply it into your own life. If not, we invite you to let it go. Welcome to the Mastering Life, Relationship and Intimacy podcast with Lucia Gabriela, a sacred space which means it's free of judgment, where we come together to learn and explore how to awaken, unleash, and unlock our inner master self. These podcasts feature experts in topics of life, relationship, and intimacy. In life, we will explore topics on health, wellness, nutrition, fitness, yoga, and spirituality. In relationship, we will explore topics on self-love, being single, dating, online dating, romantic partnership, marriage, uncoupling, divorce, parenting, polyamory, family and work relationship, and money. In intimacy, we will explore topics on tantra, sacred sexuality, eros, conscious adult entertainment, kink, and BDSM. I am your host, Lucia Gabriela, a relationship and intimacy coach, integrative somatic therapist, tantra facilitator, a speaker, co-author, and founder at Nuna Holistic Retreat Center in Sarasota, Florida, where we offer integrated therapies for individuals and couples to awaken, reignite, and embrace their true power. To learn more about any of my transformational coaching and somatic experiences, immersion weekend, and couples retreat, go to www.luciagabriela.com. And today's episode is about From Single to Soulmate, Vanishing Your Block to Love with Marla Martenson. Marla Martenson is a professional matchmaker, dating coach, and the author of the spiritual memoir, The Buddha Made Me Do It, a Field Guide to EnLITEnment. Marla is also a Reiki crystal healer and host of a YouTube channel called Cosmic Conversation. She has appeared on countless radio and TV shows, including The Today Show and Coast to Coast AM with George Noory. She lives in Los Angeles with her husband, composer Adolfo Jon Alexi. You can connect with Marla at www.marlamartenson.com. So welcome, Marla, to another amazing episode. How you doing today?
Hi, Lucia. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're really excited about today's conversation, which is about From Single to Soulmate, Vanishing Your Blocks to Love. So excited.
Blocks, exactly.
Such a perfect time because we are reaching to pretty much the end of the year, and that's when all of us, I don't know if the audience is aware, we create rituals about purging, destroying, and creating what is holding us back. So next year we start off fresh and new, and I love that. So perfect time for your conversation today.
Exactly. I love it.
And I would like to learn a little bit more about you. How did you get involved into this conversation, this topic? Like, how are you helping? I understand you help women. So tell us more about you and how you've been helping women all this time.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you first, for 17 years. I can't believe it. I got into it around 2001, 2002, after 20 years of acting / waitressing. So I wanted to, when I came up on age 39, I said, I've had enough, 20 years in the restaurant business, can't put on another waitress apron, that's it. There's got to be something else out there for me, something where I can help people, I can bring out some other talents. And I asked the universe, I did a lot of praying and affirmations and all this kind of stuff that I love to do, this magical stuff. And matchmaking came into my world, just kind of dropped in my lap. My husband had a friend who was in the business, and she gave me a part-time job, and I ended up working in Beverly Hills for many years as a matchmaker, and then starting my own business in 2010 from my house, a little boutique matchmaking service for high-end affluent men, and then the women can be in the database for free. They're looking for their soulmate, long-term relationship or marriage. I partnered with my wonderful business partner, Fred Lee Antosh, in 2011. She's in San Diego, and she does the memberships and contracts, and then I do the matching. So we're a fabulous team. But as the years went by, and just really the last couple of years, I started thinking, because I noticed that a lot of these women that I'm matching up with my guys are women that I met 17 years ago, 15, 16, 17 years ago, coming up on 2 decades ago, and they're still single. They're beautiful, they're smart, they've got a great personality, and I thought, this is not right. Here they're coming up on 50, 60 years old, and they want a soulmate, and it's not working somehow. Maybe they're in a relationship for 6 months or a year, but then it breaks up, and they must have gone on hundreds of dates over the years. And so I thought, why is this? What can I do about it? So I worked all year. I'm still perfecting this, but it is so exciting. I developed a 6-week one-on-one coaching program with me for single women called From Single to Soulmate. And it's not only do we work on the practical, I'm going to take a look at the ladies' photos, their bio, their profile, what are they doing on the dates, all of that, but we're going to clear some blocks from childhood, past life. Maybe there's a lot of things that happen to us that shut us down or put up blocks against love. It could be coming from an abusive home, an alcoholic home. Maybe there was no father in the picture. Maybe they were bullied in school. Maybe in a relationship they were abused or cheated on or left or whatever. There's a lot of things that could happen that subconsciously we keep holding on to and block. So like you were talking about rituals and magical things we can do, there's a lot of modalities that I'm going to be doing with people to remove the blocks, a lot of forgiveness, and it's going to be fun. So I am so excited to help ladies clear up any mess they have, right? I've had to do a lot of work on myself. You know, I was bullied in school in 6th grade. I remember what a profound effect it had on me for years, thinking I wasn't good enough. So even things that you might not think would have an effect so many years later, they do. So I encourage the men to get coaching too, but I noticed that women are more open to working on themselves, especially with these magical rituals. So this is the perfect time because we're coming into January where everybody makes their resolutions. I'm going to find love this year. Valentine's is coming up, so that's what I'm doing.
Awesome. So excited for you. I can see your excitement and your bubbling energy. I really appreciate that. So, okay, so now let's go into the practical aspect of helping our listeners and our viewers to start working on releasing, clearing, purging, destroying and creating what is holding them back from actually attracting and being in the most amazing, incredible relationship that they desire to be. What would be the first thing that you feel that people are not addressing that should be addressing at a deeper level? Because I'm a deep worker, meaning I kind of like to go deep. I go work deep, and I take the plunge and all this work is gonna get done, but it's done. One is done, and we don't have to go back into it. That's me. That's like I am a deep person. And sometimes we're afraid of that. We're not ready for that. There's so much preparation that needs to happen for somebody to go deep. So what are things that you feel that somebody can start working gently with themselves where they are in their life? I believe that everybody starts where they are. Some people can go deep, some people can go gentle, little by little, and before they say yes to a deep dive.
Right, and for me, it's a lifetime. I'm still working on myself. I'm still discovering some things forgiveness I need to do and things. I think a great thing that you can just do right now at the end of the year is clear clutter. Energetically, you want your space to be clear. I know for me, I can't, if I'm a writer as well. I've written 5 books and I write articles, and if I want to start creating and writing or creating a new program, if my desk is messy, if even my drawers are crammed, if my closets, I feel like it's stagnant and I can't create and let things flow through me. So just starting with getting some things together, the holiday time is good, because then you can take things to the Goodwill, you can donate things to homeless shelters or whatever, but start clearing out your space, and then you're going to start clearing out yourself. So I love that. There's another kind of ritual which is very simple, which I love, because I've noticed self-esteem is an issue with women. I'm going to give you an example that something just happened recently of a self-esteem issue that needs to be worked on. I was talking to a beautiful woman who was going to be in my database. She said, we were talking about the dating she's been doing lately. She's online, which is great, and she met a guy who she was going to go out with in 2 days. And they'd only spoken on chat. I don't know if they'd spoken on the phone, but immediately he sent her a dick pic, a photo of his penis, right? Mm-hmm. He text that on over, And I said, whoa, whoa, back up, wait. And I said, you're going to go on the date? And she said, well, I kind of didn't feel like it, but yeah, I don't want to be alone on a Friday night. And I'm like, what are you thinking? I mean, this guy, that his judgment, that he's doing this, and you have a son, and you wouldn't want him to be around. And well, he said he was drunk when he did. I said, oh, great, he's drunk, and he sends pictures of his dick to a stranger. I said, this guy is horrible. Anyway, I thought she's still. I said, cancel it, please. And then I found out she did go. And then I said, how did it go? And she goes, well, he got real handsy, and so I ended up leaving. Well, of course he did. She's lucky she didn't get raped. But so just a simple thing like, example of how that's a self-esteem issue. Not wanting to be alone on a Friday night, willing to just go out with someone who is not up to her standard too. So here's a little ritual everybody can do right now, which I like for self-esteem. So water, like crystals, is programmable. Mm-hmm. Water is programmable. And so you can take a glass of water, or I have this beautiful bottle with a crystal pod in it that I could charge up the crystals. You don't have to have that, but I love that. So take a bottle of water or a glass of pure water, and then find something to focus on that's just makes you full of appreciation and love. It's my dog Macy that makes me so just burst with love for her. But it could be your child, it could be anything. And then focus that love into the water. Take your hands. I'm a Reiki practitioner, so I flow Reiki into it, but you don't have to be attuned to Reiki. We all have energy flowing through that. Focus it into the water for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then drink the water. And you're going to restructure the water in your body. We are 60% water, and I read somewhere that our heart and our brain is about 73% water. So our heart, over 70% water, we're going to reprogram that. So that's a simple way to reprogram ourselves for self-esteem and self-love.
Yes, and one of the things that we don't know is that the spinal fluid, what goes from the spinal fluid that is in the spinal cord, actually is one of the most purest water that we can actually even think of. It's very, very pure. And it is when we do as a somatic therapist and we do craniosacral work, you learn that is that when the water inside of the spinal fluid is in harmony, the rest of the body is in harmony. If that spinal fluid is having some kind of stress, your whole body, your nervous system, everything else is going to be stressed out. So I love that you brought up the whole water ritual, because yes, I know that I don't remember the book clearly, but it's doctors. He's the Japanese doctor that
Moto. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had the whole book about miracles of water, right? Correct.
Yes, yeah, he did. They did the test where they take water and put love into it, like I said, and then another glass of water or whatever container of water that they'd spew hate at it for like a week, and then they'd freeze it and look in the microscope, and the ones that they put love into it was beautiful, like snowflakes, beautiful crystalline structures, and the ones that they said hate was very ugly. So they were structuring that.
And also like the music, like if you go to, can you repeat the name of the doctor? I have pronounced
Emoto.
Yeah,
I think it's
Kasamuri. Yes, it's Kasamuri Emoto. Like you just go look for the Miracles of Water, the book, and then you will see the pictures of it, and that kind of like when I watch even the documentary that was called "What Do They Bleep We Know About?" What the bleep we know about. When they showed that about him, and it was such an interesting documentary. That kind of opened up my eyes and see like the power of water. And then when we think about it, when he asked the question in the movie, if your whole body is made of water, like what do you think you thought they're actually doing to your whole body? And it was really revealing. And it's like, oh my God, on top of that with the law of attraction and everything, you're like, oh my God, I'm the creator of my own reality. So, we have to have that like tuning. So I love the self-esteem ritual. I love also the start clearing, purging, to clear our environment. The cloud around, I totally agree with you that when a cloudy mess, like a messy home is a messy mind, I believe. A messy drawer is a messy mind, a messy wardrobe is a messy...
Your car too, it tells a lot about somebody if you get in the car and there's a bunch of junk all over, paper straws, fast food containers, and
I mean, you can, like, for example, like I'm a mom, my mom has my daughter. I mean, my car can be a little dirty, but it cannot be messy. It can be dirty a little bit because of like I have a child who eats when she, driving school. She eats in the car, and sometimes you have spill everywhere, so it spills everywhere. But that's fine. But it's so important to really clear that junk, that mess around us. One of the words that keep coming, which I feel like is really important when it comes to clearing that canvas for love, which I call it, to attract a relationship into your life. You were mentioning a lot about forgiveness, which I pretty much talk about acceptance. And tell us more about that. Like, what do you feel that is so important because in forgiveness to me is a concept of letting go and accepting, like deeply letting go, no attachment, no energetic cords anymore, and accepting, and bringing compassion and love into it. Like, tell us more about why this is so important for women and for men, for anyone out there.
Right. Well, when we carry resentment, bitterness, anger, and we might think, oh, I let it go, oh, it doesn't matter, but does it really? Where is it in our bodies? Where is it in our mind, in our psyches, in our subconscious? The fact that maybe your ex, he's not paying child support, or he took you to court and took everything you had, or you found him in bed with your best friend, or your dad split when you were 8, or there's things that maybe we feel. Human beings like to play the victim because we got to realize we're in this tapestry of it is like a tapestry. Everybody's got their role, they've got their path, they're doing the best they can, they have their own pain, their own hurts, their own damage, but we like to say, well, he did that to me, or she did that to me, or that I'm in this position because of them. But really, I had to learn taking responsibility of the men I picked. I've had 3 marriages. I'm in a 17-year marriage now, which I had to do a lot of work on to get that really on track because of my own stuff too. But I was picking men who would cheat or verbally abuse me, and then I could easily say, well, that guy was a jerk, and they very may well be, but I picked him. I chose to go out with him. I chose to move in with him. I chose to marry him. I chose to stay with him. Luckily, I didn't have any kids with him, but I had to say, hey, wait a minute. I can't blame them. I had a big part in this, in the whole thing. So when women can take responsibility that maybe they chose to have 3 kids with a guy who beat them up or who was a drug addict or whatever, and say, but not beat yourself up about it, because we all do the best and the decisions we make at the time, but to realize, okay, that's where I was, those are the choices I made, so forgive yourself too. Mm-hmm. So we've got to know that everybody's on their path, so it's like, okay, that person maybe didn't treat me the best, but I have to let them go with love on their path, and then heal yourself, because any resentment or bitterness we hold towards someone else, it's not hurting them, it is eating away at us and reflecting our future decisions. Mm-hmm. Because I see men and women who will say, oh, my last relationship was, the person was da-da-da-da-da, so I'm not going to, they've got all these flags up looking at the next thing, and then that poor other person, they just want to be regarded for themselves, just taking it for who they are and not have that baggage of their past experience brought in and reflected onto them. So it's, so that's the forgiveness work that we've got to do, and it's so essential.
Yes, one of the things I love that you brought up is the aspect of responsibility, which is so important and so critical to move on in our lives. We cannot move on blissfully, I feel, without taking responsibility for what we have said yes to or what we have said no to. I totally resonate with the aspect of many times we fall into the victim mentality and we stay in the hood. I call it, we stay in the hood of the victim. So we stay in the victimhood mentality. And, we all victims. We all have had a victim experience, right. And we just have that power to choose. Do we stay in it or we actually keep moving? And taking responsibility, I feel like it's one of those precious gifts that we can give to ourselves, to say, I'm empowered and I chose this. There could be many reasons why we chose it. Sometimes we chose it without even knowing, as somebody who have a background in domestic violence and things like that, and you think yourself now and be like, well, my God, why did I do this, right? Well, at that point, I knew and I did what I thought was the best, because that's what my wiring was, like my brain was. And you don't blame yourself. You're just like, well, that's where I was. Now it's a different story, because now you're out of the situation. You clearly can see it better. You can see it from different perspective. Maybe you have done your work. Maybe you haven't done it. So the outlook is totally different. And still have that compassion for yourself and treat yourself so good for anything that you have chose to do.
Yes.
And I love that you brought that. It's so important for our audience and for everyone who is looking to attract an amazing partner into their life, to know that they are in the power to choose to live the way that they desire to live. And
right, and even that, I'll say it's interesting, because some self-esteem. I know a woman who, for years, so she's working as a waitress in a restaurant, and I used to work in the restaurant industry. And we wondered, why is she, let's just call her Jane, why is Jane picking up all these extra shifts? She was working day and night, lunch, dinners, breakfast, working herself to the bone, and she was in debt, credit card debt, like $80,000, and she was keeping herself in debt. So subconsciously, she figured this out in therapy, and it made so much sense. She did not feel worthy of being out of debt, so she would keep herself in debt, and then to punish herself, she'd have to work night and day to pay, because she was not going to do bankruptcy. She said, I made the debt, I'm going to pay the bills. But to punish herself, basically, she's working herself to the bone to pay that debt that she kept herself in. So subconsciously we'll do things. Women, I always encourage them, save your own money, so that if anything happens, you can get your own apartment, or because subconsciously sometimes women will keep themselves kind of broke, and then they have to stay in a situation that they're not happy in, or that's dangerous. So even if you save $20 a month or a week, just squirrel some away of your own so that you have that security, that power.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and also from, I don't know if your message is for women who are in the relationship, trying to get out of relationship, or just everyone, every woman out there, singles or married. I also feel that it's important for every individual to be responsible for their finances. One of the biggest mistakes that I have seen, and I did, is to get yourself in debt for your partner, like getting a new car under your credit, your name. You have great credit, they give it to you, they don't give it to them, and all of a sudden you end up in a divorce, or in a situation where you have to return the car, and you're screwed for like 7 years because you can't even get credit anymore because they screw you up. So that's my first message to anyone, anywhere. It doesn't matter, you're single, you're married. I personally, invite people to really not be buying or getting yourself in debt for somebody else.
Right. Well, that thing about the car, I mean, my neighbor said to us like a few months ago, hey, are you guys going to get new cars? And my car is a 2006. It's perfectly fine, but it's paid off. My husband has a nice car from, I don't know, like 8 years ago. It's paid off. No car payments. It's wonderful. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting a new car. I don't want a car payment. This is, I'd rather take the money and put it towards my retirement account. But our culture, it's always get a new car. These payments, it's kind of pushes us to materialism. And so, I think things are shifting where we're really realizing that our spiritual life, connections with people, what's really important. So that's a good thing to start as the new year approaches to take a look at, I think. And yeah, you want to go into finding that new person, going into a new relationship debt-free and building something for the future. Maybe you want to have money to travel and go to Paris or Venice and go in a gondola, or have experiences together instead of being bogged down with all these payments. It's not sexy.
Yes. So, when it comes to like the process of purging and clearing and destroying and creating what is not serving us, how important is for us individuals to address our childhood before we get into a relationship? Because from my studies and research and working with individuals, sometimes we see that our relationship is a reflection of our childhood in so many levels, and something that it was traumatic, we carry it into our relationship, and sometimes we don't realize that there have been behaviors that we got it when we were children. Like, we act to be loved the way that we act to be loved when we were children. So as a child, if you receive love by giving big temper tantrums when you're an adult, that's the way that you're going to be looking for love, giving big temper tantrums. So the question is, how important is to address that aspect of our childhood, that inner child, heal that part, and what can individuals do, something practical that you may be aware of, or you have that you share with your clients so they can help to address that part themselves?
It is. When I got into this business, I realized how profound it does have on your dating life. And I notice lately, a lot of my male clients will be talking about what they want in a partner, and many of them say, I want to meet a woman who has a good relationship with her father. Because they found out in past dates or relationships that women who felt abandoned by their father have daddy issues, we call it, and there's a big problem there. So then this is something I ask: are your parents still married? Do you have a relationship with them? So I think I've done this. I don't teach it, but breath work is phenomenal for clearing emotions. You can go to childhood and clear it out with breath work, breath of fire, breath work. So you could take a look, Google that, and find a breathwork practitioner or do it. You could probably find some YouTube videos and do it along with the YouTube videos, but it's not easy. It can be very uncomfortable. It's like you're breathing in, really getting oxygenating the whole body, and you're laying there like when I'd go, and there's this wonderful woman in Los Angeles who does breathwork sessions, and it's very spiritual, and it's dark, and there's candles, and she has some essential oils, and we're laying on a yoga mat, and we lay down with the blanket, and she'll lead the breath work, and you'll be doing that intense breath work, and you can feel, so we'll do it for like 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, you feel the oxygen through your body, you're vibrating, your hands start almost like an engine, and then then you get this tetany where your fingers even will curl up, and you feel your hands tingling, and something's going on. There's some deep clearing work there, and I know that breath work can be transforming. It can really change your life. I'm so happy we brought this up because I need to be doing some breath work. But my friend Susanna, she does it, she calls it something else, but she always wants to do it. We do healing sessions on each other when she'll come over, and she always wants to lead me through some of this, and I'm like, no, I hate it, it's so uncomfortable, and but it's so important. A lot of these things can be uncomfortable, but afterwards, and every time I would go to one of these sessions, I'd say, that's the last time. I'm not doing this again while I'm doing it. I'm like, this sucks. And afterwards, I'm like, yes, I'll do it again, because feel that clearing.
Yes, and like what you're just mentioning, it's like so normal for all of us to have that resistance to the clearing. And it doesn't just happen like just going into the process of doing breath work, but it's so natural for us to resist that change, to resist the clearing process. So one of the things I would like to share with our community is that when you are in your clearing process of removing blockages that are holding you back from being the amazing relationship that you desire, you must become very conscious and aware and very loving to yourself that you're going to find resistance. And resistance is normal and it's natural. It's a natural process of survival, because you're extending yourself 2 more millimeters of where you are. And when it comes to clearing and cleansing, it's like it feels deeper, because the cleansing process versus a growing process, right? So the growing process is like, it's a little painful, it's like you can feel it, it still feels delicious, but a clearing process, it can feel really hell. And just give yourself permission. This is not a chemical process, clearing and purging is not just about clearing, removing block. It's an alchemical process, and anything that has to do with alchemy, it's going to feel very fiery. You also be going to working with the element of fire. So I love when Marla brought the concept and the whole ritual of inviting water, because when you bring that water into your life, that water element into your drinking with love, and at the same time you are in this fire process of alchemy, it kind of help you to navigate this more blissfully. So just be conscious with yourself, journal, be conscious, be patient, and be loving to yourself that you are in a clearing process and you're gonna find resistance. So don't hurt don't punish yourself. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Awesome. So I love that you brought up the breath work. It's definitely one of the journeys that is like, once you're in it, you're like, what the heck I'm doing? Why I'm doing this? It's like, and once you're done, it's like, oh my God, this feels so orgasmic. Your body really feels like this energetic, orgasmic experience. I have experienced that every time that we do Qigong. So Qigong will be another practice they can do. People can look into Qigong breathing, I believe. But also in Tantra, we do that a lot, and definitely. So we address the aspect of clearing your space, clearing your clutter. We also talk about breath work that help you to remove and release energy that is stagnant from the past, from parent, from childhood. We also address the aspect of taking responsibility and realizing and owning that you chose whatever you chose at the moment for any circumstances, and being kind. One of the energies I feel from you, Marla, is that you bring in awareness and kindness to the individual when they do in this process, with the aspect of like, be kind to yourself when you're doing this. So this is awesome. I feel like in short a period of time we have covered so much, and people have so many tools and so many things that they can actually take into their, they'll call the healing bag, right? Like carry that toolbox. In the toolbox and apply it and keep up with it. So how can people find you and work with you, Marla?
They can find me at my website, marlamartenson.com, and I have all my offerings there. I'm also an energy healer, and I do have clients all over the country that I do distance healing for, and it's just as effective as in person. Different things they've said is they can feel someone touching them, they can feel heat, they sleep better, they're more relaxed. So I can do cleaning for distance for people. I do some angel readings. I do matchmaking. I do coaching. I've got books up there. My book, The Buddha Made Me Do It, A Field Guide to EnLITEnment, is my spiritual memoir that talks a lot about my journey and different spiritual modalities that I tried, and then I tell about it in here. So you might find in the book something that you want to try. So yeah, there's a lot of things on there. I'd love for you to connect with me. If you go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, you get a free guided self-love meditation, which I went into the studio. My husband's a composer. We put beautiful music to it, and you can listen to that. And it's self-love affirmations, and then there's an ebook with affirmations. And then once you're on my newsletter, I send one out about every 10 days. It's not spammy, but it's packed with freebies, with other meditations that I make for you, with videos, with things that's going on, great information. So I encourage you to do that if you want to stay connected with me, and then you can do some deep diving with me if you choose to. And my signature program, From Single to Soulmate, is there. That's a 6-week program. I also have some smaller programs where you can, like there's one called Change Your Energy. Just go under Work With Me too, and there's things, and you can dip your toe in and do a shorter little program with me too if you want to do that. So I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you, and excited to hear from anybody if you have a question, just email me. My contact email is on my website.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for all the amazing work that you're doing, and helping individuals to be in that amazing relationship with themselves and with those that they're going to be attracting into their life. Thank you.
Thank you, Sia. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for joining us on today's show. And if you have enjoyed it, please subscribe, share with your friends, and leave us an outstanding review. Until next time.